man, Cypher again, man. We got a special guest. You know, my man DeShawn Fontleroy. He's a strength and conditioning coach, and he's gonna, just help us, kind of dial in what we're doing as far as, because me and Luke told you we're doing a Whole30. Mm-hmm. So, we're trying to incorporate different aspects, mainly exercise and diet as well. So, but like we were saying before, we kind of shoot from the hip, but definitely talking to Sean is gonna help us get a more specific and more precise approach to what we're doing. So, you want to introduce yourself and let people know who you are, man?
Yeah, I'm DeShawn Fontleroy. My company is ProForce Athletics. We're on Instagram at ProForce Athletics. I'm a sports performance coach, sprint coach. Those are my things. I can guarantee training with me, at some point you're going to jump higher, jump farther, run faster, and move pain-free.
That's what's up.
That's what we do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So, man.
So, yeah.
What you about to say?
Well, we were mentioning that we've been doing the Whole30, so we're 7 days in on that, and it's my first time. T's done it a few times.
Yeah, this is I think my 5th or 6th one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the Whole30?
Basically, it's...
I've heard of it, but y'all are doing it. What it exactly...
You'll explain it better than me.
Yeah, it's like an eating regimen, man. There's different ways of doing it, because a lot of people have a lot of ways of looking at it. Some people like it, some people don't. But overall, it's really just you're subtracting a lot of foods from your diet to find out your food allergies and what type of foods your body responds to or has issues with. For me, though, I do it to realign my eating, because I notice that sometimes my eating will start to go a little far off than what it needs to be, and I'm eating a lot of stuff I don't need to eat, like sweets, and then I get an overabundance of stuff, so then I use it to kind of reel myself back in. And basically, though, it's like at least 30 or more days of no dairy, no legumes, no dairy, no legumes, no sugar, and that's one more. Yeah, no dairy, no legumes, no sugar. Basically,
no
anything
bread,
processed. Yeah, nothing processed.
Okay.
Nothing processed, basically. So you're basically eating foods that ate things, right? So you eat something that grew or ate things that grew, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So you find yourself eating a lot of whole meats, like if you're gonna have beef or chicken, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna pair it with a lot of times, this is a common go-to, especially for me, kale and sweet potato, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then also on the Whole30, this is another premise of it is you're trying to either lessen or take away the body's dependence on sugar and starch, which is why this will have you on no sugars and starches overall. You end up you want to try and fuel your body off fat. In all honesty,
yes.
You want to try, because that's the best source of energy. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But you stay away from a lot of bad fats, nothing that's no processed fats, and nothing that's what is it? Is it polyunsaturated? The ones that are bad? I always forget. Yeah. I think it's polyunsaturated. But basically, any like a hydrogenated fat, anything like that, you basically want to stay away from.
I think it's like coconut oil and olive oil are a lot of go-tos. I've been using a lot
those
of that.
are my go-tos. Olive oil and coconut oil.
Avocado's nice too, but it's hella expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the thing. You do 30 days of that, and then after that time, you start to slowly add foods back into your diet. I ain't gonna front, I don't do that, because I've done like I was talking to Luke and Sean about, I've done at least 5 or 6 Whole30. This is my 5th or 6th one, like I was saying. So what I do is, once I've kind of cooled out, then, because I know I have a pretty good idea of what I respond to and what I don't. So what I do is just kind of make it to where I try to keep a lot of the Whole30 habits going forward once I do my 30. But some people are like, oh, I have skin issues when I eat this, or I have stomach issues. So you just kind of use it to kind of reel that in.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I understand.
What's your goals though, Luke, for yours? What are you trying to do?
Well, the goal for the Grow Man Cypher, what we were trying to do is just offer some value to dudes like us that maybe don't have as much time. They're working, they got kids or whatever, but they want to, get some kind of fitness going or make some changes. Mm-hmm. But for me, my personal goal was to do the Whole30 for the first time, and to increase my exercise, because I had been exercising a few months ago, and I've been eating watching my calories, going for walks, but I haven't been strength training. Yes. So I wanted to do this Whole30 and somewhat just push myself and get to my ultimate level of fitness, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And part of that maybe at a calorie deficit, because I want to, for maybe the last week or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know for me, man, I'm not really into counting calories per se. I do appreciate the consistency of doing something for 30 days, because I think that's a militaristic thing. If you do something for 30 days, it becomes a habit in a positive way. You know, I've always heard things like that from folks that's been in the military. And for me, you know, I like to Whole30. Some days I might go 2 or 3 weeks vegan. You know, I do laugh eating sushi from time to time. I will drink a mocha, but I think in 30 days it allows you enough time to see if you have or if you can develop some discipline. And that's what everything comes back to. Is whether it doesn't matter what industry you're in, is do you have discipline and are you willing to work at that? And I mean, let's be honest, we've been fed a bunch of lies from our Food and Drug Administration. So those lies have created dope fiend-like habits. So some stuff is hard to shake, especially when it comes to sugar and certain fats, because we're taught to eat 3 times a day, sometimes 4.
Definitely,
those are habits.
Yep, it's a
You
lot
know
of
what I
behavior,
mean?
man.
So it's like when you get into proper nutrition, and I'm not saying any diet or subscribe to any diet, but just eating better from a common sense standpoint, it's going to be tough at first.
Dude.
But and there's nothing wrong with that, getting into something for like 2 weeks, and then you go back and eat the Twinkies, and you just start over. I do it.
Facts,
you know
man.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Just this week, I got back because I get busy. We work a lot. We have hobbies. We have other entrepreneur gigs, so you get home late. Instead of making a salad, I might go do shrimp tacos or fish tacos. That's not good doing 4 times a week. And I know it. So I'm back to my salads from the Healing Code. A good guy to follow is my relative Damon Fontleroy at Healing_Code on Instagram.
Indeed, check him out.
I mean,
man.
you'll see some of the best salads made there. You know, so.
We'll make sure we get all these links in the bio.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, real quick, this is the thing, like what we're trying to do, like Luke was saying, we're just trying to show people that there's a lot of different ways, like you said, fitness, health, all that. It's a lot of different avenues that you have to go. It doesn't have to be a chore. It's definitely doable, even for people like us who are busy every day. It's doable. And like Sean was saying earlier, you can set micro goals. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. Another thing I wanted to touch on that he talked about is the idea that our eating habits are taught, and a lot of people think willpower is going to be what's going to stop you. You have to have a more complete approach to changing your eating habits. It's doable, but like he was saying, consistency, you know what I'm saying, and repetition over time, and small goals. You don't want to just go like from 0 to 100, because like he said, then you fall right back into what you were doing. What you about to say?
Well, part of what you were saying is to reach those goals, you got to be around people of like minds, or have what they say as a tribe. You know, people that you can lean on, people that you can cry on. You know, people that you can just really talk to, as far as what you're going through, that you trust. Because we all make mistakes, and those habits are tough. I think the sugar addiction is more deadlier than the heroin addiction,
bro. It's ill, bro, because and it's like this. It's like you string people out on it over like such a long, consistent basis, and people don't know anything else, man. You know, it becomes a habit.
Yes.
Plus, it's snuck into so many foods, right?
Dude.
You could, I mean, you could just be eating bacon and
make Big Macs out of sugar.
Yeah.
You know,
all that stuff doesn't need to be in there. Yeah. So you're getting sugar just even, you know. If you're not paying close attention to ingredients and you're not just eating whole foods, you're definitely probably getting some processed sugar. And
that's the whole idea behind with the Whole30. It kind of, again, it helps you realign. It helps you realize what types of foods that you're eating. It just, one of the things that we were talking about earlier too is increasing your knowledge of food. I mean, you don't have to go out and read like a super thick volume about stuff, but the MyFitnessPal is something that'll help you, and there's a lot of other avenues that'll kind of help you get an idea of what you're putting into your body, and that's another key. When you learn what you put into your body, you have a better idea of how to kind of, again, get the balance between meeting your fitness goals and enjoying your food. Because like we were saying in a couple videos ago, it don't have to be a situation where it's like, you know, a chore, like, oh, I gotta eat again. You don't have to be eating rice cakes with like, you know, water on them. I mean, I like food, but you know, like Sean said, it's just about discipline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's gotta start somewhere. What you about to say, bro?
I was just curious because I was thinking, for the normal person, balance and sustainability, right? Because doing the Whole30 for a lot of people is not going to be sustainable. It's going to be burnout, right? Because they're going to be missing, like you said, like sometimes I want to eat dessert, and I do, you know what I mean? But I won't do it all the time. So I think like one thing like I really wanted to ask you is just getting like a good start for someone who wants to start making a difference that's going to be sustainable and not overwhelming. Because I just know that I've gotten gym memberships and like, oh, go, and then you just realize you can't sustain quite that, you know what I mean, and just
what was the specific question?
I guess just like a good starting point.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of a good starting point for someone who maybe hasn't been exercising.
Yeah, like everyday people, like every day people you encounter on the street, they're trying to make a change.
Well, I think it starts with researching what you're getting into, like going through a Whole30, maybe finding blogs or forums where people talk about that, especially, and I say this more so coming from detoxing and doing guided cleanses and doing juice fast, doing fast with just herbs, and going like 15-16 days without food but with just liquids. I think you have to understand and do the research around when you do a Whole30, what is your body going to go through physiologically? When you start fasting, whether it's a juice fast or all green juices, or you're doing it with certain herbs, at a certain point you're going to get these intense headaches, and it's best to do them when you're at these detoxes when you're at home if possible. Because you want to sleep. Bright lights, that would irritate you, But what's going on is when you get those headaches, your brain cells are detoxing the waste. That's what's going on physiologically. So you can understand, why do I have these headaches, or why are my dreams like weird, or I can't sleep, or if I turn the bright lights on, or when the kids talk, or when they're playing like they normally do, it normally doesn't bother me, but it seems like everything is amplified times 10. That's when you're detoxing. That's why you have those headaches, because the brain cells are detoxing. So really research what you're going to go through physiologically from a nutrition standpoint, but also from a physicality standpoint, because there's going to be some soreness for the first 7 to 10 days, and eventually it goes away. But to further your question, an individual might start off just working out twice a week or 3 times a week. It's very difficult to keep something sustained like exercise if you haven't been doing it, and you jump in going 6 days a week.
Real talk, man.
Your body's just going to break down. You're going to see some results early on, but the body needs time to rest and heal too, because you're working out hard. The muscle fibers get little tears, and that's where the good food comes into play. Absolutely. So if our blood is circulating properly, it's taking nutrients to those sore muscles to help heal. So those are the things that we have to do. I heard a gentleman once say that the 2 biggest things that are not taught in our school system is love and the human body. Like, we should start off with human anatomy in first grade at 6 years old, understanding human anatomy and our body parts, and going beyond like cadaver science, like showing how the body works, and how things synergize. But I don't want to digress.
It's all good, man.
No, man, that makes sense.
You're just dropping gems like we always talk about. Yeah. Man, you made a really profound point about again, we were talking about this before, the food being inclusive. It's an wellness and fitness and health. It's a holistic approach. You have to eat and you have to do the work. And on top of it, like you just said, you got to do the work. I mean, you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to spend 20 hours of a full week just over getting burned out trying to find out stuff about food. But you got to start somewhere. And then you incorporate those little iotas in what you're doing, and then you consistently develop habits. But I think it's important to find out how it works for you. And this is something I was gonna say about Whole30. One of the things that's important is understanding how you can go about it. Like, some people might not. I intermittent fast and I'm doing Whole30, but everybody doesn't do that. You have to figure out what works for you. And the other thing, to the physiological thing, that made me think about this. One of the things you're going to experience, and same with you in Whole30, is the first week or two you're going to go through what's called die-off. And what that is from all the sugar consumption that we have, we get an excess of bacteria in our gut that's developed by our sugar consumption. When you stop consuming sugar, that bacteria dies. And you're going to start to not feel so good. Like, you might have to go to the bathroom more. You may get headaches. Seriously, bro.
You start flushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're going to start to feel, you're like, man, what's wrong? I don't know, what you have to do is just, I'm not going to say power through it, but just be consistent, consume water, do what you have to do to kind of let your body go through, as he's saying with, detoxing, let your body go through that physiological process to get you to that point. That just means that your body's changing, and getting healthier in that regard. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, and I think that was what you said too, of like doing the research so you know what you're in for, because you start having those feelings, you might be like, oh man, I shouldn't be doing this. But if you knew ahead of time, okay,
that it's normal, then you learn how to combat it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's so much easier to process if you already kind of know this is part of the process,
And this is more so a shot at some of my family members that are more. When you get into this, it's like when you're really, it doesn't matter who you are, it's your personal battle or your personal war against your old self.
Dude.
It becomes spiritual.
Dude.
And it kills me, like my religious folks that whatever religion they are, and I got multiple friends from different religions, I'm like, you can't go 3 days without food? And you're telling me you believe in this or that?
Oh my
And
goodness.
that
bro.
makes me think that you're not as serious as you say about the religion that you subscribe to, because what those books say, they're talking esoterically and sometimes exoterically about how we should be living.
Most definitely.
And this is how strong the fat habit, the sugar habit is, because people know and they disregard it.
Dude.
And you would rather go to a freaking hospital. You know what I mean?
Of course I do,
So
bro.
what I'm saying is, like, I've literally
Definitely.
gone 14 and a half days without food, with just liquids. And you can research the number, how many days that you can go just by living with liquid.
Of course.
You can go X amount of days without food.
Yep.
It might just be a few minutes without air.
You don't test that theory.
Don't test that.
We're not encouraging that.
But so it's proven that you can go a certain length without food. You can live a certain length with just liquid.
Most definitely.
Because what happens over time, even on the Whole30, your stools are going to get softer. I've seen it, going through the detoxing with the herbs. You start to see the parasites in your stools.
Yeah.
When I've flushed out stools as black as these pants.
Yeah.
And that's what's been so, like, at the deepest recesses inside of you, that stuff comes up out of you.
And see, that's the key too. A lot of people don't, like I said a couple minutes ago, people don't realize what they're putting into their bodies. Preservatives, again, hydrogenated oils. There's a multitude of things, dyes that you put into your body, and your body's like, what is this? Your body doesn't even know what to do with it. So sometimes these things have a habit of either collecting in your body, mainly in fat, because that's where you store your toxins. But they'll collect in your body, or your body can't process them, so it'll disrupt your body. It's a multitude of things, but it throws you out of whack. And you don't realize the damage you're doing to your body, and it's going to come through on your health, or it'll come through on other things like he said, when you relieve yourself and anything like that. But it just takes it back to understanding again, when you eat things that are natural, that grew, or ate things that grew, your body knows what to do with it. You're not confusing your body or wearing your body out.
Yeah. I was just thinking too with not everybody, right? But like modern day, we're working on computers more. Some people have more sedentary lifestyles.
We're sitting down like this for 6 hours, 8 hours. Not good.
Absolutely, bro.
And then also, I can't remember exactly when a lot of the processed food started hitting the market. Maybe the 60s. Maybe
Dude,
you started
before
having
that,
even
but
before
yeah.
that.
It was heavy in the 60s, though.
But yeah,
Maybe that's when it started coming.
like kind of heavy in the grocery
McDonald's,
store, more
and
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. We were just trying to do things faster.
Yeah, people think of like modernity. It's like, bro,
the McDonald's, and when you look at the history and the story of that,
facts.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, some things have like. That's why we know now. Like reflecting, you can ask yourself, what are going to be the unintended consequences of this action,
Dude.
or eating this.
Yeah, especially hindsight 2020 now.
Dude,
People look at all these different health decisions and stuff we've made, Yeah,
You about to
can
make
really
a
see
point
it.
though, bro? I didn't mean to.
Oh no, I was gonna say just that we have. It's just this weird juxtaposition of we have a more sedentary lifestyle, we have more processed foods these days, and we also have the scapegoat of they got a pill for that. So not only do you got people that are being more sedentary and eating more processed foods, but then you got people just being like, I can take a pill. Like you said, they'd rather go to the hospital than to make the change. So I think that is a huge thing to combat. But that's where someone's got to make the personal choice to want to make a change. You gotta. If you're not wanting to make that change, it's not going to happen, I guess.
And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Just whatever moves you, just whether it's the pain of the feeling that you're going through,
Man.
or you know how some people are. They go through a breakup and then they start getting in shape.
Yeah.
You do something to feel better,
that like 3
or
times.
reinvent yourself. You know what I mean?
Facts, man.
So it's whether you're fueled by pain or anger, or if you eventually that turns into positive and constructive
Precisely.
energy. But it has to
Which is
start
the goal.
somewhere as you evolve, and we've all been there. When you work out hard, you're trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
It gives you a peace of mind, and
Most
then
definitely.
you get them endorphins up in a positive way.
And the confidence starts to come in.
That's
Dude,
correct.
It just builds. That's what I was gonna say. It just builds. It's like when you might only lose 1 pound in the first month or a week or something. I don't know, whatever your goals may be. But when again the consistency, it snowballs, but in a good way, right? Like you said, confidence, and you're starting to feel better. It just builds, on the positive aspect. So anyone out there that feels like, I'm too big, I'm this, I'm that. There's all sorts of reasons why you're gonna probably think you can't do it. But like he said, find out what moves you, and then even if it's something negative, and figure out a way to, like he said, parlay that into something positive. And then, like he said, confidence will come out of it, and a multitude of other things. It'll just build and make your life better in general. But it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think what I was saying before about understanding human anatomy and love not being taught, everything starts with you loving yourself. Like, I love myself. I'm just a stickler. Excuse my language, I'm just not going to ever be the fat ass coach. If I have to put my foot in my mouth later, but those are words that I live by.
I can
and
completely
because I want
understand
to I want to look like what I'm talking about.
Dude.
But I played sports at such a young age, and it transfers over into a lifestyle.
Most
so
definitely.
it doesn't matter. I love yoga. I really love hot yoga.
Me three.
I love working with kettlebells. If you do CrossFit, do CrossFit. If you like just doing barbell work, do barbell work. If you like running, do running. If you like stretching, my intent here is to tell you just do something, and then figure out 1 or 2 other modalities so your body goes through different ranges of motion where you're not stuck doing the same thing and getting bored with that from a physical and a mental standpoint.
So true. You about to say something, bro?
No, I think, man, just find something that's fun to do to stay active. And I think you can get on YouTube and you can get lots of ideas. One thing I can say is, like, when I was doing that, one thing I'd encourage people, though, is, like, it's good to get motivation, but at some point, you got to stop just getting all that motivation and start doing it, too. You know what I mean? Because I was collecting a lot of information. I was like, all right, it's time for me to start making action, taking action.
It's like,
Well,
it's been all day looking.
it's just like...
Long day.
It's just like being
Done.
on the show. When I started my podcast, which is sportsmastery.com,
Oh yeah, definitely check that out.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the bio.
Indeed.
I went through the whole course. I'm learning how to podcast from A to Z, waking up at 5 o'clock every morning, doing like 2 hours of study, learning different things. And when I got to the end, I'm like, okay, it's time to produce a show. And literally a whole month went by. Like, I knew what to do, I just didn't do any shows. So finally, I'm like, this is the day I'm doing the show by myself. And I did 3. Normally they get taught, do 3 or 7 or 10 before you release. So then you can release them. You got 10 weeks out, 3 weeks out. So you kind of buy yourself some time. And I did 3. But getting the energy up to do that, there was still some anxiety. Because I'm worried about the way I sound. Is it going to sound right? Do I have to edit every and every out of there?
Yeah.
And eventually I just said, let's just do it. Who cares? And you got to get to that point where
Facts, man.
it's really about you, and you're not worried about what other people think. And the people that really appreciate you, they're going to come. And normally
too, bro.
They support. And normally when you're on, you're making a transformation, the outside always notices first, and they do notice,
dude.
Yeah.
But it's the internal change happens first, and then the external, what people notice, is actually second.
That's dope, bro. I love that too, because you drew the metaphor of your podcast, and it totally just spins in exactly how people could approach their fitness goals. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like, I just love that, drawing metaphors from life, and
Facts,
how
man.
this might not be the same thing, but the process and what you did to get to where you were, you got to do kind of the same movements.
And what was interesting, we were talking earlier about when I first got into podcasting in 2016, and I went to this podcast conference here in Portland at the Union Bank Tower. And I think at this time, I'm like 18 episodes in, not a whole lot. And what happened was, I'm in a room of like 60 people. And the moderator, he's like, how many people here have podcasts? And then like, I raised my hand up. And from that point on, for the next 5 hours, with other people in there, I got bombarded with questions.
Wow.
And because I had 18 done, I was 18 ahead of the other people that were in there.
I feel you,
and
bro.
I had something that I could offer.
Okay.
Right. So sometimes you never know what you're going through. You can help other people. Here I am, I'm thinking I'm a beginner. I'm 18 episodes in, and I'm being treated like an expert. Literally. That was really humbling and empowering at the same time, and let me know I had something to offer as far as like helping other people, because I learned the hard way. Like, I invested in an $1,100 course at the time, and what do they call that? They say the egg or the ham is committed.
Okay.
That metaphor.
Okay.
I was committed. I put my money up there.
Yeah.
Or the pig was committed because he got turned to bacon.
I get it.
Or whatever.
I get it. Yeah.
So it's like, when it's time for you to really take action, you really have to put something on the line.
Real talk,
you got to take a risk with yourself, even if it's just going to the gym every day and just betting on your own discipline.
Most definitely. And don't, real quick, don't worry. Like what he's saying, it cannot be overstressed. The idea of like, get started and don't be like, oh, I'm gonna look dumb outside. Don't worry about that. You just got to keep the mentality of in a situation like this, be in-game focused. And then the idea of just keep going every day. And even if you have a day where something messes up, it's cool. You just got to know that the next day is another day and another opportunity. But you got to keep going. That's the main thing.
Yeah, just bringing yourself back, being aware. Just having the awareness is, I think, a big step forward, to where if you're getting too far out, you have the awareness to bring yourself back. I think that's, just acknowledge that you're doing that, then you're potentially on the right path.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I'm big on like the mind and messaging.
It's everything, bro.
The subconscious. It's not a gimmick to have a whiteboard. It's not a gimmick to have a vision board. You might find people that you want to look like, that are similar heights, similar body types, that are in shape. Give yourself a vision of where you want to be. That's work for me, from a personal and a professional standpoint. As far as the things that I want to inquire in life, I really put that up on the whiteboard. And it was really awkward the first time I did. I'm like, this is weird. Why should I? But I have friends that do it, and I think the same way. And I literally, just like what we're talking about, I had my friend Dana, she gave me the whiteboard. She gave me the link to order all these fancy quotes. I ordered 2 different flashcard sets of like, believe in yourself, trust your dopeness, and things like that. I ordered probably like $1,000 of fake money, turned 100 into a $500,000 bill.
Word.
You got property up there, but people think that's weird. But when you look at one of the all-time great comedians in this country, Jim Carrey, he used to carry around $1 million check. A voided check in his pocket until he actually made that $1 million.
I hear that,
and that
man.
Story is well documented. So you
that.
really have to believe in yourself and see it before it happens. You have to believe it before it happens, and that's where everything starts, because it starts in the mind. in what you can
Everything,
see
bro.
yourself doing.
Good or bad, know that. Like I
Yeah.
just talked to a friend of mine, man. It can go either way. I mean, what you want to actually be reality, visualize it, realize it. You know, continue to repeat that. But also, what you fear, you attract. Don't ever forget that. If you fear it and you contemplate on it, you're gonna realize it as well. So
Yeah, and I think it's real. I think some people, like I've talked to, you know, they'll go from like, I don't know, like the Oprah episode where she's like, you can wheel it in, you know, and like they're just like, you can't do that. But I'm like, well, how are you going to get anything if you're bitter or upset or not putting any good energy out there, or
Facts, man.
like, right? Like
Yes,
it's
man,
not just
definitely.
like, hey, I wake up with a positive mood and I tell myself I'm going to be a millionaire and it's going to happen. But it's like, if you just wake up and you say, oh, that's all BS, life sucks. I mean, how are you going to get your blessings? Your blessings aren't going to be coming, right? So
Most
it's like, it's
definitely.
kind of like trusting the process. And I think that's a metaphor for the workout too. You know what I mean? Like,
man.
because like,
Yeah, you gotta. It's like I tell my athletes, you gotta learn how to do your job, even when you don't feel like doing the job. You have to do your job with enthusiasm,
Bro.
And then you get to a point, you know, like it's not just enough to do your job. You got to do your job exciting. You got to be exciting about what you do. We talk about this a lot with boxers and fighters, but there's a metaphor to life. You know, there's average boxers, there's average fighters, and then those guys that are exciting,
Most definitely.
doing what they do. And
Most
like
definitely.
us getting exciting, it might be new equipment. You know what I mean? But you have to start where you are and wake up excited about what you're doing, because you could be doing something different. It could be worse. And
Yeah.
one thing we've learned in the last year, it's been worse for some and less for others.
Most
And what I
definitely.
found, and one thing we've talked about is like, how do we keep moving? We have to be flexible. We have to bend but not break.
Yeah,
And the other
man.
thing about this, when you really
Man.
look at the history of this country, in recessions and depressions, there's been more millionaires created, more success stories.
Man,
and you
y'all
have to
get
ask
in on
yourself
these gems,
why.
man. Get in on these gems.
You have to ask yourself why, and people figure it out. And
Lord.
it doesn't matter what color you are, because I think Jet Magazine
Another
started
gem right there.
in like the 60s or something.
Yeah.
And when nobody would, he couldn't get anybody. I think it's Mr. Johnson that owns Jet Magazine.
Yeah.
And it's a popular African American black magazine.
Pete Rock was just posted a whole bunch of
You see what I mean?
covers. Yeah,
and then he would
just the
go
other
to
day.
these companies like
Yeah.
Tide and Palmolive, and they were like, well, why should we invest in you? Because my people order your products.
Real talk.
You know, they use your
Real
products.
talk.
So
man.
it's really about, you just have to do it, and it
Dude.
will happen. The doors will open.
Such
Go
a
ahead,
good
bro.
shit,
Go
No,
ahead.
man. I'm just
Yo,
like,
I'm
this
just-
is dope.
This
man.
is
so good.
exactly why we do this, though,
Yeah, this
man.
is why
Look,
we
this
do
is
it.
every day, man. This is us. This is my man right here. This is my man right here, man. You know, we come together and we build, man. This is exactly why we do this, man. And this is why we're doing this for y'all, man. Sean, man, bro, you're just killing it, man. I mean, thank you, bro.
It's just, I
Man.
appreciate y'all having me on.
Dude,
You know,
I mean,
Good
hey, it's a
episode.
blessing, man. It's a
Yeah.
blessing. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to throw it out there because I'm just hyped up. Just listen to y'all. Just like
I got
the
about
vibe just got
about
hot.
5 minutes.
Word. Okay.
Word.
So yeah, what you
Yeah.
think, man?
Word, man. I think this is pretty good.
I think
Yeah.
so too, man. You
Yeah,
know
I
what?
think
Y'all
it's a
take
good
what
little
you.
video.
Yeah, oh, my bad. Take what you can from this, man, and it's a lot to take from this. You know what I'm saying? Sean's dropping, you know what I'm saying, gems, Luke dropping gems, you know what I'm saying, and we're just building. You know? Start somewhere though, y'all. I mean, that's what we're saying. You gotta start somewhere.
Is it okay if would you want us to put some contact information if people want to reach out to you and work with you?
Most
Or?
definitely.
I'm at Instagram, Pro Force Athletics on Instagram.
Okay.
You know, and then healing_code on Instagram.
Okay.
Alright,
And we'll make
cool.
sure
And then
we
if
put
you
that
have
in
something,
the
just send me a text. I'll send y'all those links.
Okay.
Word. That sounds good.
Man,
Word.
this has been dope, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just yeah.
Man, so thanks for coming on the
Yeah.
show,
Mhm.
big time, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and get at us in the comments if you got any questions or whatever. Corrections too, man. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I know I was like with the Whole30 stuff. I don't know. I've done them so much. I'm just used to just doing them. I don't think.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get better at that though, y'all. So
Okay, y'all.
All right.
all right, man.
Yep. Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Let me know if y'all ever want me on again.